and welcome to Not Made. My name is Rachel, and today we're going to dive into day 14 of Vlogmas and my day 2 and market recap for this market that I had this weekend. So let's jump into that first, and then at the end we will look at the advent calendar by All From Jade. All right. So I did a little bit better on day 2. I did get some footage. I'm going to try to include it, but there's music. So, and they were live performances. I don't really know how YouTube does their stuff. So if I get a copyright strike or whatever they're called, I don't know what it is. It's whatever they call it when you have music that they don't like. I will have to take that out and repost. So hopefully that doesn't happen because it was kind of cool. There were bagpipes, and they did this little like processional thing right in front of my booth. It was super neat to see. I also got just a few little customer interactions from like the literal worst camera angle ever. So sorry about that, but I'm just not very comfortable like filming in public. I didn't want people to see the camera. I didn't have the tripod out. Also, I'm not camera, but my phone. I'm using my phone for all of my video, and I also needed to use it for Square. So it was a little bit challenging, but I'm going to post this anyway in case that's something that you're interested in. It's not like there was anything super profound happening in that moment, but just to give you a glimpse of what the market is kind of like. There was one person who came by and they were looking for chickens on a swinging animals, I guess. It made me think of Stacy makes, because she makes those swinging animals all the time, and I've never made them. But apparently she saw them. Some other booth must have had them, and they were looking for them, but it wasn't me. So So there was one moment in the course of the evening where I actually had to kind of get on the case of some little lads who were in the booth, because they were literally touching everything, but not just touching to see or whatever, but like playing with stuff kind of aggressively. So eventually I told them, hey guys, you're welcome to look and you're welcome to touch, but you need to not be playing with stuff unless you're gonna buy it. And then they took off and they were gone. So yeah, but I don't like to intervene too much because, they're plushies, they're meant to be touched. But there was another moment that I almost had to intervene as well. And there was a parent in the booth or an adult. I don't know, I guess I shouldn't assume. There was an adult in the booth with those particular children. And ultimately they left, but it was just like, control. We got to control ourselves. I know it's fun, you want to touch everything and play with everything, but like, this isn't your stuff yet. You haven't bought it. So anyway, it was fine, and I don't think I was too harsh, but they did decide to leave. So let's talk a little bit about some things that sold. I'm not going to go through everything just because it's tedious, and I haven't gone through what I have left. I may do that in tomorrow's video. We'll just talk about some of the stuff that sold. But I'll tell you a few things that did sell out. I sold out of all of the pickles. All of the pickles went home. On day 2, I only had a couple, maybe, 3 little Christmas pickles left. So I just put them in the basket with the emotional support pickles and sold them all for the same price. I had been upselling the Christmas pickle just slightly because of the extra work for the hat and, the added materials with the pom-pom and all of that. But I just went ahead and added them into the other pickles. And then I had somebody come by at the end and they were like, do you have any pickles left? I was like, no, I just sold my I literally, she passed the person who bought the pickle going out. So I need to make more pickles, I guess. I don't know. I wasn't sure if they would still be a showstopper this year, because last year they got so much attention, but people still saw the sign, oh, emotional support pickles, and that started kind of like a, conversation or whatever. So also along those lines, I think that the signage helps a lot. Like, I try to be kind of funny or quirky or whatever, so have the emotional support pickle on the actual sign. And then I had my hippos on the table, and it said Hungry Hippos, because everybody knows the game Hungry Hungry Hippos, right? And because I had the hippos made in kind of funny colors, you know, I thought, you know, people will get this. And I sold I sold all of the Hungry Hippos. I only had 3 left, I believe. But yeah, I sold all of them. And then on my stand with the chickens and the pigs, I had put eggs and bacon with the price, and people just got the biggest kick out of that. I was like, I'm either gonna offend a bunch of people or they're gonna laugh, and mostly they laughed. Well, nobody acted offended, so that was great. But yes, I did sell out of the pickles. I sold out of the what are they called? The hippos, and that's all I can think of off the top of my head that I sold out of. You know, I have a lot of one-off items, so I don't really consider that as selling out of something because there's too many. I did make 3 additional Santa frogs for day 2. I made 1 before I left home, and then I made 2 while I was standing there at the market. So my first sale on day 2 was at 5:04. So the market starts at 5:30. So yeah, there were people milling around, and then that was my first sale of the day. Sorry, my first sale of the day. No, sell. My first sale. Which one is it? It's sale. That was my first sale. Guys, it was 2-day market and I'm exhausted and I have not finished my coffee. Okay. So, also I did sell 2 of my hoodie bears, which both went to the same family, both little girls. They're performers in one of the live dance shows, I believe. And they both wanted a hoodie bear. So that was kind of fun. I was happy to sell a couple of those. I did sell a palm beanie, and then I sold one of my little baby fox beanies. So those were kind of like bonus, you know, because all of my wearable type stuff, you know, I've had for a while, so I just kind of feel like it's a bonus if I get a sale out of it. So that was kind of cool. I'm gonna have to go through my inventory and see how I fared with the critterlings that I made and all of that stuff. So I just do not have those numbers for you right off the top of my head. But I did want to talk about the market compared to last year. So I feel like day 1 was slower than last year's. I mean, it definitely was, but it wasn't bad. So I made over 600 on day 1. And then day 2, we beat it by just a tiny little margin. So made over 1,200 with this market, and I was only $70 short of last year's total. So it was, you know, it was slightly under, but not too bad, right? So I can't complain for a 2-day market. The market goes from 5:30 to 9:30, so it's 4 hours. So, you know, when you break it down like that, it sounds like, oh yeah, I made like over $100 an hour. That's pretty cool. But we all know who do markets, it's not just the market time. You've got all of that setup time ahead of time, and you know, it pretty much takes up a big chunk of your day. For me, it takes me an hour to get to this venue, you know, both ways. So that's 2 hours of commuting. And then of course you've got all the time actually making the stuff. And I don't really feel like I have to count that, because I crochet for just the pleasure of crocheting and creating something. And so that's why I don't do the things that don't spark an interest in me, like the swinging animals. You know, I think they're cute. I don't ever feel like making them though. So that's why I fill my booth with things that I enjoy making. So even on repeat, I want to have something that I like doing. So like the pickles, I love doing the pickles. I think they're cute and whimsical, and they are pretty easy to pull together. So it's stuff like that that makes me want to continue crocheting, right? So anyway, all of that to say, you know, it's not just the time you spend at market that is that value. Now, I've heard a lot of people say, oh, you need to like have a goal of 10xing your booth fee, which I think is a great goal. However, the booth fees that I've come across in our area, especially like for a market like this that has quite a good traffic flow and everything else, they're pretty stout. So it cost me $180 for the 2 days for this market. So I did not 1x my booth fee, but I'm still happy with what I, made. So I guess that's just a personal choice when it comes to doing markets. You have to decide whether it's worth it for you. And, part of me as I was driving home and it was close to 11 at night was thinking, I don't know if it's worth it, because it's pretty exhausting. But overall, I think I really enjoyed the experience. And I started day 2 by myself because my kids had another function that they needed to go to. But fortunately, my oldest daughter was able to get dropped off and she was there for a good chunk of the market with me. And so that was helpful because then I had another, body there to help me break down, which is probably the biggest thing I was not looking forward to. But overall, this market went really well. I was happy with it. And if I get the opportunity, they do jury their vendors, which is awesome. But if I get the opportunity to do it again next year, I think I would like to do all 3 days because there is a Sunday market as well. The only reason why I haven't done the Sunday is because last year I was under the impression, my very first market experience, the Sunday was horrible. So I didn't know if that's just like a Sunday effect because I have heard other people talking about it like that. So I wanted to make sure that didn't happen. And last year I wouldn't have had enough inventory really to do a Sunday because I sold so much. So I would like to make more, and I would like to do the 3rd day next year if I get the chance, because I feel like it would be, well, one, I want to see what the Sunday is like. So yeah, I'll just leave that there. I don't know what else to say about that. So that was kind of day 2 of the market experience. It was great. I've got a ton of work to do today because I got to clean up. I've got to organize all of the inventory that's left, and I think I will go through that with you guys for maybe tomorrow's vlog, and we'll just talk about what I have left. Oh, I did want to mention that I did kind of count my little critterlings because those were the things that I was concerned about that were walking away, especially with that. I don't know if you watched the last vlog, you will have heard the story of the little pink penguin. So hang on. Yes, that's it. It is currently in the dryer. We're going to see how it laundered. I just want to see what happens when the plushies have to get washed, So I moved that bin, like I said I was going to, in front of me, so it was right there in my line of sight. But I did count the critterlings I had left, and then I counted what I had written in my notebook. And as I said, I think I may have missed some transactions in writing it down in my notebook on day 1. So there's a possibility that I'm not really missing any, but I couldn't account for 4 of the critterlings. And then one of them was the pink one. So it's actually 3 that I didn't have any record of. So again, I'm not doing spreadsheets. I don't even put my inventory in Square. I just keep track in my notebook as best as I can, which, as we can tell, is not a foolproof plan, but it's gonna just be what it is for now. So I will see how many of those I have left and how many I have actually written down that I sold, and we'll see where we land on that. So that'll just give me a little bit of an idea of how I can adjust with those tiny little things for the future markets. So yeah. That is, we're gonna wrap that up. Put a little bow on the market for today.
a capybara too, right? This
Yeah.
Is a capybara. Okay.
Going with those two?
Yes.
Do you want a bag?
You want a bag? Probably. Yes.
I'll take them and then.
Sorry.
That's okay. You're good.
Actually, I'll take 2 gum. Okay. So the other one is a buffalo.
Aw, well, that's very thoughtful. He won't be lonely ghost. Okay. So that would be 21 total. You can do card? Okay. Okay.
Are those $10? Yes. Okay.
You gonna do cash?
Yeah.
Alright. Okay. Well, good luck. I hope you get what you want.
Solo of the chicken on the swing.
I didn't have that. That wasn't me.
Oh, it was another. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you have a like card thing?
Yeah, I can do tap.
Okay, that's perfect. Hopefully my tap works because sometimes
Well, hopefully. Sometimes it's finicky with the square thing too.
tickets are losing first of all. You never know how it's happening. To lose.
You do these hats too?
Yeah. Those are knit though. It's knit on a machine and then stitched together.
I want to take all of these little ones.
They're cute, aren't they?
Look how cute. The wall pieces. Like $50, and I think I'm gonna waste all my dollars on these. These are cute little
Okay. Might do a little gingerbread. I need frog.
Yes, you can. Let me grab them from you.
Not to mention it's the last
And I'll put them in a
one.
bag for you, okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're gonna pay with the card?
Gingerbread.
Here you have an itty bitty Christmas kitty. Santa frog, emotional support pickle, and a mini gingerbread man. All right, guys, I love Ratatouille, okay? And now I know this isn't a official Ratatouille rat, but that's what it looks like to me. It certainly reminds me of a chef rat. It's wearing a chef hat and it's got a great big spoon. This pattern is by crochets_ by Liza with a Z, or Liza maybe, could be that. On Instagram, and it's very cute. I'm not gonna make it today, guys. I don't have it in me after a 2-day market, and this one has a few pieces. The nose, the arms, and the ears, and of course the hat are all separate, and I'm not in the headspace to do anything with pieces today. So we're gonna leave it at that, but if you feel like making one of these, I'm sure somebody would buy this just because it's so recognizable. But anyway, I hope that you have a hat, or having, I hope that you're having a great weekend, and I will chat with you again tomorrow on day 15 of Vlogmas. Bye, everybody.